What's going on, guys? Unleash Strength back with another video. Today I have my brother-in-law, Scott, licensed professional counselor, 2 master's degrees in psychology, been in the field for a long time, and we brought him today into our video to talk about, to have a discussion about mental health and how it relates to fitness and health and all that good stuff. And so we just kind of have a freestyle conversation here and kind of shoot some thoughts back and forth and see what his professional opinion has to say. Well, something that's been on my mind a lot lately has been how much, not just like, it's good for humans to kind of improve and to have like set goals and to progress in life, but it's almost necessary. I think it's like a part of our human existence, the need to try to have a healthy mental state, to be making progress, to be making achievements and moving forward and progress in life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it does. And I think that people have that drive to improve and get to the next level to a greater or lesser extent, depending on the person. And the tricky thing is that it's a balancing act between being content with where you are in life,
right,
and wanting to improve.
Sure.
So that's sort of the idea, is balancing being happy and content with yourself in the moment, but also bearing in mind that you do want to continue to improve on yourself.
Right. No, it's a tricky thing. One thing we see a lot in like lifting and fitness, as soon as you like hit a new PR, a new record for yourself, it's like you immediately go to the next thing. Like, all right, I hit my 400 pounds on 500 pounds, and you don't even like stop to celebrate sometimes. And I think, there's like a level of healthiness to that where it's like you're obsessed with always trying to improve, but there's also a danger of not enjoying your accomplishment or at least like taking a second to like appreciate where you've come from and stuff.
No, I think that's right. I think that it's also important to understand why you're doing what you're doing.
Sure.
I mean, what's your motivation for wanting to get stronger? What's your motivation for wanting to reach a different level of fitness? And are you paying the same amount of attention to other parts of your life?
Right.
One of the things that you and I have talked about before is the idea of everything that a person does being very connected.
Yeah.
And physical activity and physical improvement is just one of many things that people have to attend to. Over the course of their lifetimes. No,
absolutely. It's the thing we try to talk about a lot with our brand. Is it's great getting stronger, getting physically fit, but yeah, what's the purpose? Purpose we talk about, almost like a responsibility to kind of take care of these awesome bodies that we've been given, and also though that we owe it to ourselves so that we can live a more full and healthy and happy life, and we owe it to others to take care of ourselves so we can take care of you're a father, a husband, take care of your family and be able to provide for them and help not just live a fun life, but a more fulfilling life too. I think that's something that's key, and as a lot of times I think we skipped over that with like health and fitness. It's not just selfish of how great I can look, but like what can I almost give from your health and fitness. Yeah, and another thing I guess we see in the industry, something that we see like the more negative side of things, body dysmorphia or eating disorders, anorexia and that kind of thing, where these mental disorders too that are found in the industry. And so I don't know, do you have any thoughts on that, on how one might defend themselves against that, or if they're in a situation like that, how do you combat that, those negatives?
Well, I mean, let me start off by saying that you'll find mental illness in every area of life and in every community. I mean, mental illness is non-discriminatory when it comes to social class, race, culture, and in terms of trying to pinpoint an origin of mental illness, I mean, I don't know that that's a constructive thing to do, typically. But in terms of the practicality of it, the practical nature of understanding mental illness and perhaps its role its context in the fitness community, maybe it's just important to understand that it happens. Mm-hmm. And it happens as a result of genetics.
Sure.
It happens as a result of environment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's typically the case in everyone that has mental illness. So it's never just simply brought on, almost never is simply brought on by environment. Almost never simply brought on simply by genetics. It's always an interplay between the two.
Or it can be magnified one way or the other by
Or it could be magnified, it could be nudged in one direction or another, and it can manifest itself in symptoms differently depending on what's going on. But in terms of what to do, how to be aware of it, how to be mindful of it in the fitness community, it's important for people that are engaged in fitness, and indeed any other activity, and if that tends to be their primary outlet for stress, if it tends to be one of their primary interest of activities, maybe it's important for people to understand why that is in themselves. What is it that they're hoping to accomplish by doing these things?
Sure. What's your motivation?
Correct.
What are you striving for?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And number two, and this is maybe a more important point, that is exercise and fitness is not treatment. I know that some individuals will say, well, when I exercise, I feel like my depression goes away.
There's a lot of kind of jokes about it, like it's my prescription,
it's my Prozac.
Right.
It's one of the things you'll hear. But the thing is that there's no doubt that exercise helps.
Right.
There's no doubt that it will help you feel better. But I'll also tell you that engaging in any activity will make you feel better when you're comparatively feeling lousy. So the most important thing is that not to fool yourself into thinking that because you're heavily involved in exercise in the bodybuilding community, that you no longer are in need of help. That you no longer need to listen to your psychiatrist if he or she has suggested that you're in need of medication.
Right.
Now, I can tell you over the years, I've seen many tragic cases of individuals whose illnesses have gotten much worse as a result of their misconception that what they were doing in the gym was the same thing as what they were doing in their psychiatrist's office.
Sure. No, that makes sense. Kind of thinking you can handle it by yourself when you need professional help.
Correct. That's exactly right. Yeah.
So always listen to your doctor, listen to professionals. So separating the people who really need, professional psychiatric help. I mean, what is it about lifting? I mean, the structure, like you were talking about earlier, the progression, the making new goals and achievement, and the confidence it builds, those kind of things. Are there, mental health benefits to that kind of regimen?
Without a doubt. I mean, what we're talking about here is what I'm hearing you say, is that we're talking about a difference between individuals who have clinical levels of problems. Clinical depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, whether it's bulimia or body dysmorphia. Those are
they need professional help, and don't push that off.
That's correct.
But for more, I guess, general population who might not have.
Well, look, life is stressful, and we all feel depressed from time to time.
Right.
That's normal. That's a human experience. But there's a difference between feeling depressed and having depression.
Okay.
And for what you're saying, or what are the benefits? Well, of course there's benefits of regular gym attendance, of lifting.
Sure.
There are benefits to having any regimented life.
Sure.
Not just going to the gym, but the added benefit that going to the gym and exercise introduces into your regular daily behavior is that physical activity, specifically exercise, exertion, causes the brain to release chemicals that we know are associated with feeling good, feeling content, feeling satisfied. And without going into that, it's pretty well documented that helps.
Yeah.
Now, in addition to that, of course, you're experiencing the benefit of having a healthier body, which in turn will decrease your stress and anxiety about potential chronic health conditions and things like that. But also, it helps you deal with the tremendous amounts of stress that people experience in their life. One of the biggest problems with that contributes to heart disease these days is the accumulation of something called cortisol, which is it's a hormone that's released into the body in response to stress. It's sort of a short way to describe it. And that gets worked out of the body through metabolism, especially while you're doing exercise and physical exertion.
Yeah.
So getting rid of that, getting that cortisol out of your body, decreases its capacity to, frankly, break down the lining of the heart, and for you to experience the long-term health effects of that. So there are substantial benefits to it. Yes.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
going back to what we had talked about initially about the interplay between genetics and environment. I mean, the brain can be, for lack of a better description, it can be programmed to become depressed. If you get into a depressive habit and you start developing clinically significant symptoms that are causing a problem with your ability to live, work, or love, those are sort of the big three areas there. If you're having an impact on any of those areas, then it's a problem.
Okay.
So what you're saying is true. I mean, if you get into a habit of engaging in behaviors that make you feel depressed, then you're putting yourself at risk. Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
I could see that, day after day or week after week, kind of having this unregimented lifestyle could definitely lead, down a bad road.
The one thing I might bring up is everyone has their limits. I do think that there can be, in some individuals who are very committed to a gym lifestyle, so for lack of a better descriptor, that there could be a level of despair if they think to themselves, well, my gosh, I can't go any further. Well, I really think that that's a dangerous way to look at it, and frankly, it's unfair to yourself.
To not put your happiness in that, right? Your happiness doesn't come from your physical body and from your physical accomplishments. It comes from your well-balanced lifestyle, hopefully.
If it's getting in the way of you living, working, or loving, it's a problem. And I think that you can make the same analogy to anything, including bodybuilding.
Is it taking the wrong priority in your life?
Correct.
Are you giving more attention than to your family?
Right.
Are you?
and even if you strongly suspect that the pain, hypothetically speaking, in your back is because of bad form, and you're constantly trying to find a different form that will alleviate this, but yet the back pain persists and you're starting to miss workout, you work because of it.
Right.
It's a
Or you go home and you're stressed out and you're in a bad mood and
That's
you're
correct.
Making your wife upset and you're not playing with your kid. Yeah. It starts taking over. Yeah. No, absolutely. Balance in all things. Well, cool, man. I appreciate it. Cheers.
Cheers. My pleasure.
Maybe we'll have some more conversations. Stay healthy mentally and physically. Peace.